Hey guys, I'm a little late here, but I had several requests to do a video on how to invest with a self-directed IRA, and that is something that I did do in the beginning myself, so I just kind of wanted to explain the process and some of the benefits of doing it. So there's a lot of people that, maybe had jobs and quit and moved to another job and have an old 401k that's just sitting there and maybe not earning the greatest interest. So, I was doing a little bit of research, and average returns on an average 401k is, somewhere on the order of 6 to 10% interest. And of course, the first question you should ask is, well, why should I be looking into doing this with the self-directed IRA? And really, the main benefit is that you can greatly increase the returns on your investment if you learn how to invest wisely with the self-directed IRA. Einstein had a famous quote. It was, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So, a few interest points can make a huge difference in how your money grows. So, just for example, if you were to take $100,000 at 8%, in 5 years, you're going to be at 148K, 10 years, 219, and after 20 years, you'd have about $480,000. That's assuming compound interest. So if you take that same money and go from 8% up to 20%, here's how it's going to grow. So 5 years, it's going to be about 260,000. 10 years, 673. And after 20 years, you have $4.5 million. So huge difference if you can get a little bit higher returns on your investment over time. So I just kind of wanted to talk through the process a little bit on how you do that and what your different investment options are. So when I quit my previous job, I had a pretty significant, I've been working there for about 10 years, so I had a pretty significant chunk of money saved up in my 401k. And I did some research, and full disclosure, I am now an affiliate for this company, so if you do use me as the person that referred you, I do make a small fee off of this now, but I only became a affiliate after using them myself and recommending them to quite a few people, and they recommended I do their program. But the company that I chose to use was Sense Financial, so they are a true checkbook control self-directed IRA, which I tell everybody, that can be a great thing, but it can also be a bad thing because it puts the burden on you to basically make sure that you're not violating any of the terms of your IRA, which I'll get into here in a little bit. So basically what I did is I took that money from my old 401k and I transferred it over, and I went through the process of setting up this self-directed checkbook control IRA. And I'll put a link below that kind of explains how that process works. You can read up on that. I'm not going to get into all the details, but basically what it does is it gives you much more control over your investments and allows you to invest in a lot of different things. So you can take that money, you could invest in a business, you could basically partner with somebody in a business, you can take that money, you can actually buy real estate. So I chose to actually take that money and go buy real estate, so I own 2 rental properties in my self-directed IRA. You can also take that money and use it to fund other real estate deals, or you can take that money and invest in stocks, that you want to choose, things like that as well. So those are kind of the different options that you can take. So I'm going to, obviously this channel is about real estate, so I'm going to focus on real estate and, the different options there. So the one thing that you have to understand is when you move your money into a self-directed IRA, it is an IRA, which means that you cannot benefit personally from that money, and your IRA cannot benefit from you either. So if I buy a property within my IRA, I can't even personally guarantee that loan. And what that means is that I have to go out and get brain's not working. a non-recourse loan. So a non-recourse loan basically means that the property itself is the only collateral, and you have to put down a much larger down payment. So in my case, I own both my properties 50% cash and 50% leverage. So I basically got a loan for 50% of what those properties are worth. And obviously with less leverage, you're going to get less returns on your money, but you can still do real well. The other option is to fund other people's deals, so I've done that as well. So, let's say there's a house flipper, and so I flip houses myself. So when we flip a house, there's a few different ways that we'll actually fund that deal. So most of the time we will use a lender. So we have different lenders that we use, and their terms will be anywhere from 10.5 all the way up to 15% interest. I don't use them, but some people do. Some of the hard money lenders are pretty expensive, and points on the money as well. So what a person will do is they will go out, they will buy a house at a discount, they will do the rehab using a draw account from that lender, sell the house, that pays off the lender, and then the lender gets all their interest and everything, and then they go and do it again. So that is one option. You do definitely, no matter what you do, if it's buying real estate in your self-directed IRA or if it's becoming a lender for other people's deals, there's definitely some education that you're going to need to go through to be able to do a good job of it and minimize your risk. So it's like anything, there is no free lunch. So if you want to get these much higher returns, you need to be, a little bit educated. So as far as actually buying real estate, rental property real estate, it's exactly the same process that you would go through to do buy and hold real estate. Outside of your self-directed IRA, you need to learn how to analyze the property. You obviously want to try and get as good of a deal as you can, so buy the properties at a discount, all those sort of things, and how to manage it. So there's lots of great books that I've recommended on this channel for how to do that. So two of my favorites, I guess, are the Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller, and Brandon Turner's book on rental property investing is also real great for that. So if you want to become a private lender where you're funding other people's deals, that's where you really need to do a little bit of research. So I definitely would not just go and fund anybody's deals. I would look for somebody that has experience. You want to make sure they've done multiple deals successfully before. You want to make sure it's a person that you can trust. Definitely do a background check, ask for references for that person, things like that. And then not only do you need to trust in the person, but you also kind of need to be able to, or at least have enough knowledge to be able to vet the deal yourself. So, what happens if a flipper, goes and pays too much for a property and he ends up selling it for a loss? Then your collateral is no longer good for your loan. So you need to understand the person's numbers. So what I would ask for if you wanted to go that route is, okay, what's the property, send me the comps on this property, show me your numbers. So here's the purchase, here's the rehab, here's all my holding costs, and here's what I expect to sell it for, and here's the margin that I have on that house. And you should be able to look at that deal and say, okay, yes, the numbers make sense here, I feel very comfortable with this deal before doing it. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that all the transactions go through a title company, so that you have a third party that's basically looking after your money. You don't want to just go and give the money directly to the person. That's never a good idea. So make sure that your money goes to the title company. You want to make sure that you have the promissory note and the deed of trust, and that you are properly secured against that property as collateral. So basically what that means is, if, let's say, the flipper gets themselves into trouble and doesn't pay you, you basically have the ability and the right to go foreclose on that property and take it back and then sell it. So as with anything, obviously there's some amount of knowledge that you have to be able to do this. So just so you know, my long-term goal is I want to own a lot of real estate, and eventually I want to actually, so there's Robert Kiyosaki has this thing he calls the cash flow quadrant. So the very first one is, you're the employee, so you're trading your time for money. The next one is you're self-employed, so basically you own a job. And then the third level is you're a business owner. And then the fourth level is, you're an investor, so your money is working for you. So my long-term goal is basically to, become much more passive in my investments. I always plan on owning real estate, but, kind of helping out other investors and things like that. So, That is really all I have. I'm going to put a couple links down below here to the company that I use. So, like I say, I am an affiliate with Sense Financial now, so I do get a small chunk of money whenever I refer somebody to them. So, I was very, very happy with their service. I wouldn't recommend them if I didn't use them myself, and we're very happy with them, and they were great. It is a little bit of a complicated process to get the IRA set up, and they were very, very helpful in guiding me through that process. Um, like I said, they may not be the best fit for everybody because it is true checkbook control. So there are other self-directed IRA companies that they will actually look at every single transaction that you're making, which kind of gives you a little bit of extra security, but it also comes with a lot more administrative costs. So if you guys are more interested in having a little bit more somebody actually reviewing all of the transactions and things like that, I've got a couple other companies I could recommend there as well. So that's pretty much it. Leave comments below if you have any questions, and I'll try to address them. Thanks.